Welcome back. This is K24 this morning. We're looking at the big stories of the day. Before we took the break, Honorable Lauda had spoken about how there were less than 100 MPs at this particular Naivasha meeting as far as Jubilee was concerned. He actually said 54. Mark Bitati has taken it upon himself to do a head count. You found there were how many? 86. 86 right there. Let's talk about this particular issue for a bit. From what's happening in Naivasha, the rifts within the ruling party just growing bigger and bigger, so it seems. Where do we go from here? Once the SG has disowned this particular meeting, saying they have freedom to meet like any member of the party, but this decision that's been made here isn't binding. What does this mean for this group of MPs? Because they don't have the go-ahead from, or the blessing rather, from their own party. So how do they chart their course with these parallel rallies, so to speak, Joy?
The person who'd call a PG would be the person who has the responsibility to chart the party way forward. So if like-minded MPs decide to go somewhere and have a cup of coffee, it really cannot be called a parliamentary group meeting. It is a meeting of like-minded individuals. Right. And that is what the meeting was all about. And the issue, I think, for them is they realize, in as much as they want to participate in the BBI rallies as presently constituted, they don't have enough room to do what they need to do at those meetings. You saw last time, even with the limited opportunities they were given to speak, the ideas that the Mombasa meeting wanted to bring across had already been crystallized without their participation. So when you speak, you're speaking as it's obiter, it's by the way. But the main message of the meeting has already been crafted by somebody else. I have had complaints among some of them that, I mean, they're just merely ODM rallies, pretending to be inclusive BBI rallies, but they're basically ODM rallies. And therefore, when they come up with this decision to form parallel ones, for me, I wasn't surprised, because I looked at like, you know what, like I said before, this process right now has basically been kidnapped and hijacked by the political class. So BBI team put something out. We were supposed to have a discussion about it, but the politicians are speaking louder than all of us. Tangatanga has something they want to prove. They've said, we want this BBI report the way it is now. We don't want anything changed. From what we are getting from the other rallies, there's definitely things the other politicians want to change. I'll tell you from where I am, having engaged with the document itself, there are things about it that I'm very happy about. But there are other things. For example, we keep hearing 2010 constitution was very good, but there's those 20% of it that wasn't good. As in the no campaign, and I'll tell you, some of the things that we thought were not good with the other constitution, with the constitution as it is, we still want to make sure that those things are taken care of now. So even in all this clamor, with the politicians making all the machinations that they are loudly, there are many more individuals at their own level who've taken the initiative to also start developing their own positions. And when the task force starts going around, you will see SUPKEM coming forward, the Christians coming forward, you will see women caucuses coming forward, the youth coming forward. Other people are actually working. So, you know, when you look at what the politicians are doing, you can imagine that they have this process captive. But when the task force goes out, I think they will be overwhelmed by the response that they will get from Kenyans, because in as much as we can complain we haven't seen a copy, you haven't done what, I was telling people when we were off air, that in Moranga there's a guy who's been printing and selling those things himself. Him is in enterprises, decided, you know what, I'm going to make something of it. So the politicians can go ahead and do what they're doing. But I assure you that the Kenyans are also working hard to ensure that if this BBI thing is going to be the vehicle through which we will see some of these changes, then we are going to take advantage of it. What Mark was saying earlier, for us it would be an opportunity to ensure that some of the changes we've been wanting to see will be seen. But when I hear the politicians talking and saying, this is how we are going to fix some of those things, I want to see the proposition. What is your proposal that you say is going to fix the outcome of the last 3 or 4 elections? Like I was telling them again off air, the thing that hasn't changed is not the IEBC, is not our laws, is not even our election system. We've even changed the constitution. What has not changed is the players in this field. There are some politicians who've been there for such a long time, and if there's something we say, all factors held constant. When you're looking for the K in all this, it's the Kenyan politician, front and center. Our politicians also need to change how they do their politics. If we are really going to have a change, that antagonistic type of us versus them politics has to change. If we're going to say we want non-divisive politics, can we start by having non-divisive politicians? All these factions, Tangatanga, Kieleweke, ODM and NASA, and can we just get to a place where politicians decide, let us compete with ideas rather than insults, and bad-mouthing each other and all this drama. So that at the end of the day, the Kenyan remains front and center.
Right. Before I come to Honorable Oda, Mark, I want to ask you this particular question because it seems like this is a very unhappy lot. We've had them in various fora speaking about how they're displeased with what's going on. Is it time they probably find a way out of this party? Because it feels like it's almost untenable in the space they are in right now. When the SG has disowned whatever you're doing and saying we're not part of this, yet you're going ahead, you've asked for the PG meeting to discuss, that has been ignored. Are you seeing a scenario where they actually just move out?
The SG had no choice. Parliamentary group meetings and resolutions by a party have to go through a certain system, as Joy has intimated. So they do not have that. But secondly, let's remember, Kenyan politicians do not disagree on principle. They disagree on personal interests. So let me explain. They will not quit Jubilee. Never, ever, ever, ever. Not until the next election is near enough for them to risk their positions. They are not disputing this at the risk of their salaries. It's not going to happen. The Jubilee is the party in power and in opposition because those in opposition do not have the courage or the kahunas, as they would call it in South America, to make that bold step and say, listen, I disagree with the party leader and the party that sponsored me. Please give me a second mandate. My friend, that payslip there written by the Parliamentary Service Commission, they cannot dare risk it. So is Jubilee split as it is? Yes, of course it is. That is a matter of fact. But will they exit it formally? No, they will not, simply because they lack the temerity to do so. Now, beyond that, the question we ask ourselves, what are they opposing? Think about it. The biggest people who complain against the fight against corruption are in this picture. Those who the president is introducing a bill against for the conflict of interest are in this picture. The MPs who've said that perhaps the president should be impeached are in this picture. The MPs who've said that Jubilee has run a funny banana republic economy are in this picture. On top of that, the people who've opposed the handshake in all its forms are in this picture. The people who've opposed the president when he says, can we focus on development instead of holding political rallies across and early campaigns for 2022 across the country are in this picture. The people who... Should I continue?
We get the gist.
You understand? So is Jubilee split? Yes, it is. But they are also showing something. Jubilee elections are in 2 months away. The question is the heart and soul of Jubilee, who will win it? This wing of Jubilee or the president's wing of Jubilee? And indeed, based on the headlines that we are seeing, 173 on print and 86 in the picture, you can tell there is an agenda to show that there is parliamentary might on one side of Jubilee. And that might is going to come to the fore during the Jubilee Party elections. Now, that's where the rubber will start meeting the road.
So this is the signal that's been given for that.
Let me tell you, if you have some money, save it up, go buy a lot of popcorn, because the Jubilee elections, if they happen, it's gonna be on. WWE, WrestleMania.
We'll wait and see how that election plays out, like you said, if it indeed happens. Honorable Oda, let me come to you, because some people are saying, okay, this might seem like an idealistic point of view, but if the leader of Jubilee and the leader of ODM decided to have a handshake behind closed doors, put their issues behind them, decided to move forward, why can't the rank and file just do the same thing, call for a retreat where ODM would also be in Naivasha with Tangatanga, and sort this thing out? That would be a quicker way to solving divisive elections.
Now, you know why this can't happen, Jeff?
Why?
Because we are dealing with a law that is so power hungry, and they want to have it the way it is. The Moi had it, the Kibaki had it, the Uhuru had it. They really don't want any fraction of this power taken away from them. Before I go there, one, I have to sympathize with the people whom their water has been diverted into the
We'll be talking about that in just a bit. We'll be getting to that.
Okay, maybe just to forget. Now, if you have this kind of a lot of people, if today Raila denounces BBI and says, I've abandoned BBI and I'll be doing other things, these guys will jump into this ship and go on with the program the way it was programmed by the government. And because Raila is actually in the team that is going around the country as per the program, they will really do, they rather do any other thing. Now, we cannot have, because DP Ruto is actually principal assistant to the president. And it is upon him to follow the president everywhere the president goes, or rather what the president says or what the president do. Look at all these countries. Look at America. Look at Germany. Look at France. Look at all these countries. The work of a deputy president is to deputize the president on whatever and whichever matter that is come before the public or rather the country.
But has he done anything contrary to that?
He has done everything contrary, because what you are seeing here, this is the Tangatanga Brigade. He had the power, and I'm sure he financed it.
That's an allegation.
I know.
If he was here, we'd have said we are sure. But as of now, we don't know.
I know. I mean, you can see the Ishungwa is here. Sankok is here.
Yes.
I mean, you should just use your brain and know this is DP.
But the DP isn't there.
No, he is there. This is Tangatanga team. This is a Tangatanga team that denounced BBI and denounced everything and the referendum and has been calling us all sorts of names. This is the DP financing this meeting, and I want to be very categorical about this. Now, he is somewhere else meeting the president. His arm is somewhere else meeting the president. And another arm is there talking about how the president has failed, because apart from the BBI, they also discussed the economy has failed. If the economy has failed, I'm the one supposed to be talking about that because I'm in the opposition. They're in government. They should be telling us the results. They should be telling us the answers to all these problems. They are there discussing, oh, I don't know, we don't have sugar, we don't have what. How can you do that and you are a member of Jubilee Party that is supposed to be championing the interest of the president? That's why DP Ruto, to me, if you ask me today, he is a pretender. And if I am Uhuru Kenyatta, this is one man I will not listen to, because this one man was carried a sword, put it on my back, and on this other side, he's trying to tell me, Mr. President, pole, hakuna shida. Na huku anamdunga na kisu. So what we are saying as a country, that it is time Uhuru Kenyatta know that he's on his own, and use all the like-minded MPs, and I'm so happy they are not even more than 100. Give them even 100. We still have 249 members of parliament pro the proper BBI meetings that we have, like the one we are going for in Kitui. 249 of us. We will be there. Well, it's only that you don't go out there in the newspaper and write we are 249. Then if they go about 86, they are there making all the noise and all, wow, we are going.
Honorable Joshua, let me come to you as well on this.
We are tired and we are used to all of them. If I see all of them, these are scarecrows.
Honorable Joshua, let me come to you, because even as Oda says that it's very hard to have this particular meeting of minds between, let's say, ODM and Tangatanga, it might be hard, but it's necessary, because solving these divisive elections is a chapter in our BBI report as is, and has been pointed out, every elective cycle we have this particular issue. Why can't you sit down and decide to solve this all at that particular level once and for all?
Let me start by saying that I want to be clear, and I want Kenyans to know that BBI, as some people are saying, is not about ODM. It's about Kenyans. And
it's the perception that they're seeing.
Yeah, but you see, when we were in Mombasa, you saw everybody was there. Wherever we are there, all the members of parliament from wherever they were there, with our leader Kalonzo Musyoka. And this BBI issue, I think it is very important. The reason why we are going to the common Mwananchi, we interact with the common Mwananchi, because this is not a problem for politicians alone. It's a problem to Kenyans. And it is very important when we are sorting this problem, all of us as Kenyans. So I think holding a page like this one, saying that we are going to sort out these things, I think that one will not work. Because the best thing is to go regionally. We get views from the Mwananchi and come together. The task force is there to iron everything and bring a fine document which is inclusive, and views of the Wanjiku can be felt inside that document. Right. So I think sorting out this issue as a country is better than individuals.
Okay.
And this is a very small group against the whole country.
249.
And
Okay, okay, but Honorable Joshua, even as you say that the perception of these rallies being ODM is wrong, but if you look at Mombasa, for instance, it almost felt like one of the things you had to do, you had to pledge your loyalty to Baba before you continue, and it almost seems like it had changed tack.
Let me
And
answer
that was on record. Everyone who would come there would have to say they're behind Baba all the way, and then continue to Honorable Joshua, I'll come to you.
Yeah,
sorry, Honorable Ruda, I'll come to you.
Let me answer that.
Honorable Joshua.
You know, BBI, it's, you remember there was a handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. In Mombasa, Honorable, His Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta was not there.
Right.
So Raila was there. And again, you see, because it's all begin from the handshake. And we cannot say, let's, on Saturday, I wanted to watch on Saturday. You will get over 20,000 people from Mukambani will be in Kitui. It's not about Raila, but it's about Kenyans. And I'm saying this because saying Baba, mentioning Baba, because Uhuru was not there and we had Raila there. So that is not pledging loyalty to Raila, but it's not about BBI, because it's about the two of them. They unshaked and there was peace in this country.
Before you go to be chatting,
because I know it's the same thing you're going to bring on that honorable.
Before you go to be chatting,
2 seconds.
no, let me tell you this. We only have two principles in this country who are sworn in. One is the people's president, who now we have denounced, and the President of the Republic of Kenya. And the owners of BBI are only two people for now who started it. And so if Uhuru is not there, as he puts it, then it's Raila. And Jeff, even if you're in that rally and Raila is seated, my friend, you need to honor the man. Even not even going by BBI, but going by the history and the input that this man has put in this country, that even today you have K24. Otherwise, you'll still be having another media station.
One of the things that is problematic in this country, and it's a huge problem, it is the fact that we cannot give honor where honor is due, okay? And it's something that bedevils us. That if politicians are on different sides of a divide, and I'll give the example of ODM when it was in opposition proper between 2013 and 2017, I'm telling you, Uhuru could do nothing right. Right? If he went on a trip, the cost of the fuel was the issue. If he stayed in the country, why aren't you outside the country talking to people? Why? Because in this country, if something good is done and you're on the other side, you must find a way of bringing it down. That's the biggest problem we have in this country. And that kind of politics cannot be allowed to stand. And here's the truth. Has Raila Odinga done good things for this country? Yes, he has. Does he still have questions to answer around 2007, molasses and stuff like that? Yes, he has. But Nelson Mandela was not a saint either. But when you talk about Nelson Mandela, you talk about the good that he done to his country. So this thing of saying that if you are in opposition, you can never say anything good about the president is ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous. In fact, let me just take it a step further. I look at politicians who are looking at the country in terms of 2022, and they're in Jubilee, and they're busy bashing the president's legacy as though they are not part of that legacy. It is insanity of the highest order. You cannot be in the same team with Robin Van Persie and then lose and then go and say, by the way, if only Van Persie scored, me, I did the best defending I could. There is something called collective responsibility, and we need to call out our leaders. It is ridiculous what they're treating us to. It is a farce of the highest order for them to stand and say, you know what, we totally oppose the president, but we are totally in his party. Those things cannot work. And I know you'll write to me and you'll tell me, now I'm in ODM and things like that, but I'm just telling you the truth as my countrymen. There is something called, when something is right, support it. We need to be like Nancy Pelosi. What did she say? I will impeach the president, but I still hope and wish and pray that he succeeds as a president. Because the success of Donald Trump as a president affects Nancy Pelosi and the poorest person in the United States. So this idea that every time we have an elective contest, everything that any leader does that is not on your side is evil. But everything that your leader does on your side is good is nonsensical. And this idea of your opinion is handed to you by your politician. So some people were anti-BBI, now they are pro-BBI. Come on.
I want us to move along to our final topic of the day. We have 8 minutes to do this. It's a story that can get on page 5 of your Daily Nation. DP Ruto accused of diverting villagers' water to his farm. Taita Taveta County government, according to the Daily Nation, has gone to court seeking orders to be allowed to access this particular farm in that area. Joy, they say there's no coincidence when it comes to politics. We had an interview, we saw an interview by the DP saying that he's heard that the ICC case might be reopened. There's a KPC case when he was education minister that's also been investigated. Now this, what aren't we seeing? What's below the surface on this? Is it just...
it's not below the surface.
It's right there.
Peeping at you, it's looking at you.
What aren't we seeing from this particular story? Why is he seemingly the only person who has all of these investigations against him?
It's what Mark was talking about earlier. When somebody is quote-unquote, and I think we even had that that robust discussion with him once. And I told him, in politics, there's nothing like enemies. These guys are either allies or they are rivals. But there's nothing like enemies because DP Ruto is supposed to be firmly in government. How come when it rains, it pours? It's, the misfortune is coming in threes. I mean, he's reaping the whirlwind, as it were. Because it shows you when somebody decides that they want your star to dim, they do everything in their power to ensure that all the dark stars align themselves in front of you so that yours doesn't shine as bright, which I agree with Mark again is counterproductive. Because when we come to doing the scorecard for Jubilee come 2022, when we're looking at, okay, it's time to do a re-election, as a voter, I'm not going to start splitting hairs between he did this, he did this. I'll be like, under the Jubilee administration, what have I seen? They said they would do this, they said they would do this. What did they achieve? What did they not? They promised Kenyans that they will achieve this. What have they done? What have they not done? But that said, when you see something like this, where people downstream are complaining that upstream something has happened that is denying them water, in the Constitution, everybody has a right to access these resources because they're Kenyans of right. In Kenya, we have this thing where we do not pay attention to the finer details. That's why you have things like the Solai tragedy, where you want to change the course of nature and assume you'll have no consequences. If there is somewhere where water is being damped upstream and not enough is being released to go downstream, the people downstream have the problem that we are seeing here now. What I do want us to understand is, as Kenyans, even if it is the president who's been said to do this or the deputy president who's been said to do this, if there is such a repercussion, the institutions mandated with protecting the environment, for example, like NEMA, should have enough clout to just go ahead and do what is right by the people who are using that, the resources. Let me give you another example. When we were being released by the colonialists, for lack of a better word, because I don't think we've been totally released. There's still plenty of neocolonialism, but when we're being released by the colonialists, one of the things that we did do was sign a treaty on how we are going to use the waters of the Nile. Why? It's because even if the Nile starts here with us in Lake Victoria and passes through Ethiopia, the people in Egypt are also waiting for it to get there in sufficient quantities for them to be able to use it. It's the same thing with these resources. Somebody has to have a rhyme or reason of how we do things. But here when we want to decide, okay, this one is so important, let's allow them to flout the rules, eventually it comes back to bite us. Do they want to have a dam for them to use in Sugoi? Probably do. Then help them to build a dam that will not prevent enough water to go downstream. And are they doing something that is preventing them to go downstream? Then don't look at whose farm it is. Go and open the dam gates and let the dam drain so that the river downstream, it should be a matter of common sense. But like you said in Kenya, even the headline, it gives you the allegation of, you know what, there's politics involved in this. We should get to a place where everybody abides by the rule of law regardless of who they are. That's what's killing this country. It's corruption.
The sub-county commander, Lawrence Mara, declined to comment on this particular matter when it was brought to him. And almost feels, even as we talk about BBI and how to restore everything, it seems like even in this particular space and time we are in, we have animals that are more equal than others.
I think as leaders, and when you are elected a leader or you are a leader, it's good to do things right. And also we need to consider others when you are doing things. I think this it's a corruption of high level. And I think in this country we need leaders who can mind of the other people. Because I think he'd not comment, maybe he'd not comment about it because it's like, how can an individual look at him as special than the others? And I think that's why I can say as we leaders, we need to adhere to Chapter 6 of Constitution, integrity. Because what you are doing and what you do when you're in this country to do, one time, it will haunt you. So I think this is a serious issue, and it has to be taken serious, and let the law take its course.
Right. Honorable Uda, I'll come to you even as we get on this, because the Communication Secretary for the DP, David Mogonyi, was also asked. He said he wasn't aware of any land the DP owns in Taita Taveta County. Could the DP be unfairly targeted here?
No, one, about DP being involved in the issues of land grabbing, water diversion, corruption, it's not news. Not news. Look at the history of the DP Ruto. Then you will realize that he's not unfairly targeted. If Mgonyi says that he doesn't own land in Taita Taveta, it's the same DP that didn't even own Western Hotel in the first place. So there's no news here. He didn't own Western Hotel, now he owns it. So Mgonyi, as he puts it, DP Ruto doesn't own any land in Taita. A few weeks later, he will own it. That is normal. And number two, these are the issues that BBI seek to fix. And I'm always asking myself and asking my fellow countrymen, you cannot be the same person on every day, every morning. All the wrong headlines are facing you. I mean, why you? The question is, why you? And if all these things were happening when you are just a mere minister, they happened when you're just a mere youth in YK92, they are now happening and you're just a mere deputy principal. The question is, what if you are the number one, the unstoppable one, the supremo? My God, Kenyans, let's bring BBI.
Mark, I'll give you 30 seconds because we are closing on this one. Unfairly targeted, or is it just the law just following its course?
I've said this before on this show, and I think I said it last week. Every politician in this country must begin to be treated like Caesar's wife, above reproach. Every politician, bar none. The truth of the matter is this, that for as long as we keep normalizing such news articles, then what we are doing is our next MP will have a similar story. They should go out of their way as politicians to make sure that their handling of the public good is immaculate. Like myself. That's what should happen. You don't see such stories about Obama, right? Even after he's left office. Why? Because you must hold your leadership position with decorum and above reproach. And that's why I join issue with Joy Mdivo when she says, what we've done in this country is we've changed the game, changed the referee, changed the grounds, put the tiles instead of normal grass, but the players have remained the same. And for as long as the players remain the same, and the arguments remain the same, you know, the arguments are Tibim Tabi Telala versus Wembe, right? And a crossfire of insults. For as long as that is the level of intellectual discourse we allow within our political space, then they will continue to misbehave. Because what happens is this. I go and steal, I'll say, molasses, right? Then I'll come and call you a conman. Then me, I'll go and steal something else. Then I'll come and call you a hand checker. That is what is happening in this country.
And you leave it as far as is concerned on that particular point. You want your views still on these stories, you can get us at K24 TV. You can also get us on WhatsApp. We'll be responding to them throughout the show right here. But thank you so much, Joy Mdivo, for making time this morning. Asante sana. Mark Bichachi as well, thank you so much for making time this morning. Honorable Joshua Kimilu, thank you so much. First time, hope we'll see you plenty more right here on the show.
Thank you.
Asante sana. And Honorable Fred Oda, thank you so much for making your debut in 2020.
Thank you.
Take a short break. We'll be back on the other side. We get interactive. This is K24 This Morning.